Yeah, morning, folks. I got up today and I said, I just want to play Magic. I mean, more specifically, I said I want to choke people and make a whole shit ton of elementals with Titania. But you get the general idea. Oh, I'm excited for this stream. I love playing this deck so much. It is so much fun. I also made a couple changes to the sideboard since last time around, which I think are going to be pretty good. Death and Jaxes. Oof. Oof. That's strong. Oh, I'm aware. You've had some rough ones the last couple of weeks. It's been strong. All right, morning, folks. My name's Phil Gallagher. I run Thraben University, a site exclusively for legacy, death, and taxes. If you didn't see it, I did actually put up a generic theory article this week. For a while, I'd been talking about my critical card theory, which is my idea that there are some cards in certain decks that are so much more powerful than the rest of the cards in the deck that the games with and without them look entirely different. So I kind of formally wrote up my thoughts on that and threw them into an article. So while that one's not an article that's entirely specific to D&T, I think D&T pilots will find it useful because it does talk about Aether Vial quite a bit. But anyway, let's look at today's deck, which I love. It is the beloved Orcish Lumberjack deck, often referred to as Applejacks by the community. Keeping with the rich tradition of naming nonsensical decks after breakfast cereals because fuck it, why not? Alright, this is the exact same main deck that I played the last 2 or 3 times that I played this deck. I think the main deck is in a very solid place. So to just briefly talk about it for anyone who hasn't seen me play this before, essentially this is a graveyard synergy-based deck. You have Punishing Fire and Grove of the Burn Willows. Life from the Loam and Wasteland and Fetch Lands and Cycle Lands. You have Titania, which really plays well with your Wastelands and Fetch Lands. You have Knight of the Reliquary to find all of your lands, including a Dark Depths and Thespian's stage combo, as well as a Sajiri Step to force it through. You also do have this random natural order that can go and get Dragon Lord Atarka or Primeval Titan as the board requires. So, what are we doing with this deck? Why am I playing this? Why would I play this over, say, traditional 4-color Loam, which, by the way, is my next donation goal, and I'm super hyped about it. Okay, so the reason to play this version is that some of your matchups become an absolute joke. You don't have the lockout power of Chalice of the Void for the free wins, but a turn 1 Orcish Lumberjack sacrificing a land, acting as a Black Lotus, can then allow you to play turn 2 Natural Order, which is pretty silly. And Orcish Lumberjack is not one of the most important cards to this deck, but it is quite the enabler. Once you have a Titania in play, you want to be able to sacrifice your lands. Oh hey, look at this! Sylvan Safekeeper! In addition to just sacrificing lands to actually protect your creatures, like this was intended, you can actually just sacrifice all of your lands, and then you can turn all of your remaining lands into 5/3 green elemental creature tokens, which is nuts. So this is a deck that has power based on synergy, and there are all these different small packages that work together. And I think in a time where like Deathrite Shaman is gone and Graveyard Hate is relatively light, this sort of strategy is going to be very powerful. Master, I'm very much glad that you liked that article. That was one that I had like everything except like the last paragraph or two done for like a month and a half, and I just kind of sat there and I was like, do I want to write more? Do I want to go into more detail today? Or do I just want to throw this out here and then expand upon it some other time? And I decided that was a good stopping point. And yes, those chalices in the sideboard of Death and Taxes have been absolutely insane for me. I 5-0'd with it on, what day was that? Thursday? On Thursday. Very handily. Alright, so let's look at the sideboard. I had a Reclamation Sage here previously. I'm going to try out Knight of Autumn. I don't have quite as many white sources as I would like in this deck to just hard cast it. Like, it's enough, it's fine, but I would love more. I think the flexibility of this card is going to be very nice in a lot of cases. And a lot of times when I want to, like, fetch this up to destroy something, it's off of Green Sun anyway, so it's not that big of a deal that it's a little harder to cast. From previous versions, I decided that the metagame had gotten more fair, so I want a board for more fair decks. So I put some Tireless Trackers in here and a third Choke, because I have this weird Choke fetish where I just like to tap 2 colorless and a green and get people. It's just so fun. Choke has overperformed for me in every single deck that I have thrown it into in the past, I don't know, what is it, three months now since banning or something like that? 2. I've loved this card. So anytime I'm playing a green mid-range deck, I really want to be playing at least 2 of these. I figured 3 was probably fine. And I decided that, yeah, that was for you, chat. I decided that Tireless Tracker was a really good fit in this shell. I didn't quite want to take the Sylvan Library out for it, because Sylvan Library is like a relatively easy turn 1 play if I have a Mox Diamond opener and I don't have like one of these cards that I want to play out. So I figured it was a good fit. So from before, I think I had 1 Thalia over the first Tireless Tracker, an Ancient Grudge over the second Tireless Tracker, and then I think it was some other combo hate card over the Choke. But relatively speaking, I'm looking to bully the ever-loving crap out of fair decks. So decks like Miracles, D&T, Grixis Control, I expect to get them good with this sideboard package. Main deck Choke and back to basics for the meme. Hello, we're playing blue-green mana destruction today on stream. I'd totally play that. If someone would send me a donation deck list idea that just says main deck Choke and back to basics, I'd build the rest. I'd figure it out. So Hellclan, when is Choke.deck? Choke.deck is called Sylvan Plug. It is a stompy deck that uses Chalice of the Void, Trinisphere, and Choke as its lock pieces. So that is a deck that exists. Romario has streamed it quite a bit, although I don't think he has recently. So that deck does exist. Maybe we'll make Sylvan Plug a donation goal after I reach my next one. All right. That's all I have to say about this, other than I want to thank S.E. Safali for donating to make this stream happen. Hey, Julian. You're here just in time for the shenanigans to begin. It's time to make some elementals and cut down some trees. Oh, we are gonna cut some wood. Of all the shenanigans streams that I play, The Orcish Lumberjack streams might be my favorite. Like, it's hard because then there's also the Nick Fit streams, which are also absurd and ridiculous, and you do all these cool broken things. But when this deck works, holy cow. So for anyone not familiar, kind of how this deck came about, Solnox, who is like a known sort of like green mid-range player, plays a lot of like Nick Fit style stuff, Loam style stuff, was kind of like messing around and like trying to find something new to play. I think he was mostly bored, and he brewed this. There aren't a lot of people playing it right now. Like, I tried to look for Orcish Lumberjack results, and the results that I saw were either with Solnox's deck list or my deck list. Oh, the other card I cut from before was Rurikthar. I cut the Rurikthar that I threw into the sideboard. That card was a fun of last time around, and I don't think it was bad. It like certainly has some applications. It's a game-winning card against a lot of blue decks, but I figured Choke might just be better. That's been my my general philosophy lately. Battle! Well, this is real close to being the ideal hand. Real close to being the ideal hand. Do I keep this? So I can go Misty, fetch Taiga, Orcish Lumberjack, turn to sack Lumberjack, sack the land to Lumberjack, have 2 lands in graveyard, cast Loam, play a land, use the other land to Mox Diamond. So many things can go wrong. But with drawing 1 land, everything goes right. Keep. We didn't come here to not take risks, right? I think my opponent has played a lot of like Grixis control. Alright, so opponent Force of Wills me, which is awkward. So I'll sit here and hang out for a little while. So it's Force exiling Kess. I don't want to dredge, I just want to try to draw lands. I don't want to draw my third Mox Diamond. So, like, despite the fact that I'm missing land drops, I'm actually still fine. Like, hitting any 2 land drops over the next, like, 5-ish turns will probably still put me in a great position. Unless my opponent sticks something like a Jace or like Lily Last Hope, their clock is anemically slow, so I have plenty of time to draw out of this. This is what I was afraid of. That's a real clock. But the good news is that if I draw lands, I will just, like, get out of this situation very easily with Punishing Fire. Note that I don't want to play Mox Diamond here, because I don't want it to get Culligan's commanded. So I guess I can technically, like, get a Dryad Arbor here, but that does nothing against Lily. So I shouldn't do that. I should just discard. I could discard the Punishing Fire for, like, quote-unquote value, but the third Mox Diamond is really redundant at this stage, so I don't really need to do that. All right, this is probably the tipping point where I'm just 100% dead. All right, I can Punishing Fire a Snapcaster Mage, take 6, go to 8. It's actually 7 because of Windswept Heath. Lily pluses. I guess I could draw exactly Grove of the Burn Willows to help get me out of this spot. Well, no. I think I just want to draw another land. If I draw another land, I can produce a Knight. And then with Knight, I could just, like, go for Turbo Merit Lodge over two turns. So maybe I want to draw a fetch land, because that puts a land into the graveyard, making Knight a 6/6. That's still problematic with Lily, though. So if this knight is answered in any capacity, I am literally dead. Okay. So Legacy Goblins, like, I don't know, like, the exact matchup from, like, the Goblin side or anything, but it seems to me like the D&T matchup is an absolute landslide in favor of, like, this deck, and so I imagine the Goblins matchup would actually play out similarly. Okay, so let's figure out how I want to sideboard. I want to outgrind my opponent, which I don't think will be overly difficult. These are the cards that I'm going to be thinking about. I probably want less of the package that goes and sacrifices my own stuff because it's a little bit vulnerable to counterspells. Like, I probably don't want Teague. I probably don't need the Lumberjacks here. The game's going to go long enough where, like, I'm just going to find my mana naturally. Sylvan Safekeeper's kind of medium. Like, it protects my stuff, but maybe that's not entirely necessary. I probably don't need to protect Merit Lodge from anything. So Sujiri Step can go out. My plan is outgrind them. I don't need to go for Turbo Dark Depths. I probably don't need to go as big as Dragon Lord Atarka. Which probably means that I can cut this. This would cut all of my things that just, like, naturally sacrifice. But since I'm a 61 card deck, I need to take one of those back in. Or just take Knight of Autumn as a 4/3. They can kill a Baleful Strix. I don't hate that. Alright, this hand isn't going anywhere quickly, but it has good cards. So, like, I'll play turn 2 Ooze, into turn 3 Knight, into probably turn 4 Tireless Tracker. There's a real decision about whether or not to play the Savannah on 1 or the Verdant Catacombs. I played the Savannah because if I draw another land to play the Tireless Tracker, I would really value having a fetch land. So Legacy Goblins, if you're curious about the deck list, you can click the Cardboard Live extension on screen at any time to see it, but there are 2 Lumberjacks, although they are currently both in the sideboard because I don't think this is the optimal time for them. Yeah, that was kind of the plan for Ooze. Ooze here was the cannon fodder. Do I take a turn off to play a Sylvan Safekeeper? I don't think so with this threat. It's just, like, terribly mana inefficient to do so. And I lose a lot of tempo. Yeah, I don't think I want to. I'd much rather do that on 4 mana when I can deploy it and one other threat at the same time. I'm also not quite at the stage of the game where I'm willing to sacrifice my own lands yet. This is a little punishing if my opponent does have Lightning Bolt specifically, because right now Knight is a 3/3, and this is probably one of the only turns of the game where it will be answerable by a Bolt. But a Bolt would answer Tireless Tracker as well, so it's probably fine. So I can Green Sun for 1, get a bird, and play Sylvan Safekeeper this turn. I like that combo. Note that in this matchup more generally, I'm fine with the push just eating that. Note that in this matchup more generally, I want to save Green Sun as a finisher, but since I have 2 finisher cards in my hand right now and my limiting factor is sort of my mana, I'd like the ability to play multiple cards in a turn. This line would be punished by him to Turok, taking both of my threats. Man, I really just need more mana. This is unfortunate. Play a lot of lands too, right? Like 27 or something like that? Yeah. So there's 26 in the deck right now. At this exact moment, there's 23. 22. Yeah, here's the exact scenario I was talking about, although it doesn't really matter since like there's a Fatal Push in the art anyway, but now that's around for later threats, which is annoying. Yeah, it takes some getting used to, but once you know it's there, there's a lot of functionality. I love, love, love Cardboard Live. I think it's going to be the future of Magic coverage. Not exaggerating. Alright, so how do I want to play this turn? I don't think I'm in the market to wasteland my opponent this turn. Yeah, I'm 100% convinced that Cardboard Live, or whatever it ends up becoming in the next couple of years, will end up being the gold standard of Magic coverage. So I guess I could just crack another clue and make my opponent chump block with Snapcaster this turn, so I can save the Punishing Fire for a follow-up thing that might be more annoying. Or I can just draw Mox Diamond. That's fine. Hardcast Force of Will on a Punishing Fire. Deal. Actually, this might have been a misplay on my end because now my opponent can Lily minus return Snapcaster Fatal Push. So maybe I wasn't supposed to make that attack. Yeah, I realized that just a little bit too late. Oh, Julian, that's interesting. Alright. So we have a big boy. Big boy will get us Dark Depths combo if it makes it around the table. Master Herc, I'm doing well. Yeah, alright. So I can produce a Merit Lodge, hold my Knight of Autumn, and then on the next turn use Knight of Autumn to destroy Baleful Strix and get in there. No trade. Okay, I'm going to think for a moment. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I can cast Green Sun 4/5, get Titania, activate Knight, create 2 5/3 elemental tokens this turn, and every turn for the rest of the game. Is there any reason why I should do that? So in order to beat me, my opponent would need to have like a double edict or something of that ilk. And my opponent might think that they're actually quite safe. All right, so I could go cast Green Sun for 1, get a bird if I wanted. Yeah, I think I'm just going to pass here and create a Merit Lodge. So I am Gnarls. On Thraben University, I posted an article yesterday called "The Critical Card Theory," which talks about my theory that some decks have cards that are so much more powerful than the other cards in them that, considering how games with and without them are different, can lead to some really important strategic choices. So, like, I could have played one of the cards in my hand, but I would have played it super inefficiently. So I could have, like, Green Sun for, like, 1 or some crap like that. So I can block and kill this Gurmag, but if I do, my opponent can plus and destroy my Knight and then kill my token with an Edict, which they can't currently do otherwise. So I'm just going to take this hit. Really boring. I do, actually. I quite enjoy the deck, and someone is actually working on a article about the deck for my website, Raven University. So, yes. Diabolic Edict, make me sacrifice a creature. Itawero, Posum. Sure, double edict is very statistically unlikely, though. And green sunning for a dryad arbor or green sunning for a bird just plays into the Liliana that's on board. So I think that's very actively bad. So now my opponent needs to have like a force of will or something to counter this. No, we have a Knight of Autumn. Which, though slightly harder to cast in this deck, is largely an improvement. I don't really think I saw anything that made me want to change anything that I'm doing. Remember, you can also scroll over the Cardboard Live extension to see the cards as well. I have one of my best cards in this matchup, but the rest of this hand is do nothing, so I'm going to go ahead and ship this one. This hand's bad. This hand is very bad. I have 1 mana source. I need 3 mana. Nope. This is the best hand so far. Gonna bottom that. Well, the whole Roman Empire kind of crumbling apart really added to that. But more generally speaking, Latin was a very complex language in terms of grammar, and over time, languages naturally simplify. So a lot of the simplification of Latin led to the other Romance languages like French and Italian and whatnot. Always the Germans. So to just give like a very simple example, there is a grammatical difference between something like who and whom, right? And 100 years ago, that would be a difference that mattered a lot. But now, as language simplifies over time, people don't really care about that sort of thing anymore. And so the grammar just slowly lessens and lessens and lessens. And now we're at kind of an interesting point where we're starting to see like emojis over everything else as a way of like communication, and that's kind of interesting. I guess I'll just ram a knight out there and we'll see what happens. Should go back to Grunton point. Yeah. Yeah. English is a very interesting language in many ways because its grammar exists but is often irrelevant. Um, well, okay. I'm not entirely sure what you think that's going to accomplish. I'm debating if I want to like actually answer that or if I just want to leave it in play because they don't have black currently. I guess I can play this first. I'm not going to play around them having like a second follow-up Blood Moon. We're going to see if I get super punished by a sweeper. Yeah, so like, if I... All right, there was the swamp. If I would have just left the Blood Moon in play and my opponent's follow-up is Jace and they bounce the knight, I'm probably mega boned. So I think it's probably correct to remove the moon. Like, and like, I know I'm seeing the Jace now, but that was kind of one of my thoughts that I didn't articulate. Alright, so I can hit Jace for 3 with Knight of Autumn and Dryad Arbor, killing it. And then I can whack my opponent for 7. Or I can just set up the more generic kill in a turn or two down the line. I have a lot of lines this turn. They're all very good. How do I beat like a Toxic Deluge? Is it just by wrecking my opponent's life total this turn? I don't feel like my opponent had a sweeper that turn, or they would have just used it. Yeah, I think I just aggressively go after my opponent's life total. Yeah, I know they saw a couple of new cards, but I can't take them off of the sweeper. So I think I just kind of like go in this turn. And don't play my green sun. Here I'm fine getting that forest. Oh wait, can I just kill them? I can sack 4 lands, turn this into a 10-10, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. No, I can't just kill them. Well, there's a difference between playing like Paper Magic and Magic Online, right? On Magic Online, I can afford to take this time. In a paper event, I would have just made a decision and ran with it. So by doing what I did, I have actually played around a Toxic Deluge specifically, because I can pump my Knight up to an 11/11. Magus of the Choke. Oh god. Oh man. That'd be sweet. Surgical extraction, their polluted delta. Deal. Oh yeah, those good old beginning of class, like classroom phrase sorts of things. Ah. Deluge for x equals 1 into an edict is an out. Okay. So Jadra. All right, Baleful Strix. Okay. That is a mild annoyance because my Knight of Autumn is already in the graveyard. All right. My Dragon Lord of Tarka. Is my Primeval Titan in the sideboard? No. So I can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I can only do it for 5, so I guess I get a Titania. Shrugs. Guess Titania's fine. Okay, sorry, to finish answering that Latin question. So there are people who still use Latin today for conversational Latin, and they have sort of agreed upon terminology for the modern stuff. A lot of times it's roughly based on Latin roots, but sometimes you just have to make up your own new things and just kind of agree on it. Yes, I would accept a vintage deck list donation. I have not played any vintage on stream yet, but I do play a little bit. I've mostly played with like various mud decks and White Eldrazi, the humans deck. I've tended to play with decks of that general nature. Yeah, I feel like when you go far enough down the rabbit hole, you own a book of Latin curse words. Oh yeah, you can play a vintage humans deck. It's essentially just like all the best hate bears ever printed with nearly perfect mana. Yeah, Scab Clan Berserker is sweet. To play around Jace, I don't think I want to make a Merit Lodge exactly right now. I'll wait. I don't have a... No, I don't. So Jadra, if I attack with a 5/3 there, it just trades with either the Strix or the Gurmag Angler and makes me more susceptible to Edict effects. So I kind of have no good reason to. That was a surprisingly grindy matchup. Relatively well played by my opponent there to not go and just really let me take over that game. They took a handful of relatively risky lines that were probably correct, like the surgical extraction on themselves in order to go and shuffle their library was very critical. Yeah, so all of these like Maverick style decks, like these mid range green decks, Maverick, Loam, the Orcish Lumberjack deck, um, sometimes you're in for some long games. All right, the last time my opponent got a trophy was with a weird Antiquities War deck. Yeah, Legacy and Standard are very different worlds. I mean, the opponent is going to give us free tickets when we just roll him. Do I want to just get a Dryad Arbor right now? There's probably very little cost to doing so. My opponent is a Delver deck, and they go Bolt and Wasteland. I'm punished for not getting the Forest here, but I still have 2 more lands left and, like, Loam. So I think I'm fine. Ooh. Well, that's mighty interesting. So I'm going to play out this crop rotation first as the counterspell bait. If my opponent doesn't counter this, I get Wasteland. If my opponent does counter this, I cast Life from the Loam and I land Ancestral Vision. Then I crop rotation again on the following turn in order to just go and get another Wasteland. Predict target you bet. Really thought my opponent was going to be like some sort of like Stoneblade deck leading on Volcanic like that. Neat. I like the part where I'm going to Thespian Stage and Dark Depths for every turn for the rest of the game. All right. Poll. Which color has the best card advantage? Is it blue or is it green? Because I've drawn 5 cards off Life from Malone, and my opponent has only drawn 2 cards off their Predict. Counterbalance. Look, if my opponent backs to basics me, I'm just losing to that in game 1. I kind of want to dredge this, and if I dredge a Punishing Fire, it's just like so good for me. So they didn't hold up this Field of Ruin, which they could have used to break up my combo. That makes me think that they have a Swords to Plowshares. But it also might be a bluff that they have to take, because if they just hold this up, I won't go for it. And then they just have, like, time walk themselves forever. So since I can't interact with this Mentor right now, I probably do just need to go for it. Yeah, like, if we get Jaced, we get Jaced, right? But this is on board. I have to try to beat it. I have, like, literal no other gas in hand. Yep, so be it. And my plan of, like, trying to find a Punishing Fire is not frickin' working. One, two, three, four. So some of you are suggesting plays that are more patient than what I took there. And so I'm just going to ask you a question. Do you believe I can afford to play that patiently after my opponent has tapped out for a Mentor? And I believe the answer is no. Man, we are not lucky. Alright. So I probably want Knight of Autumn, Trackers, Choke, Needle, Rebs. And I'll probably get rid of the stuff that sucks against counterspells, just like I did in the other matchup against Grixis Control. So while Dragonlord Atarka like has some use as an endgame finisher, most of my stuff at 3 mana, those are fine finishers. And I'm going to need to make one more cut. Against Grixis, I cut Teague, but here we have like Terminus in addition to Jace to worry about, so I'll probably keep this in the deck. Despite the fact that it's a little awkward with my Green Suns. Karakas is amazing in this matchup, actually. It bounces my Gaddock Teague and my Titanias. That's great. Maybe it's a bird. I could see it being a bird. I could also see playing Ooze over the other bird. And just playing more standalone threats. Sylvan Safekeeper is an awkward Mother of Runes here. Nope. Also nope. Also nope. Alright, we have a game plan. Got a turn 2 Goldfish incoming. Show me Force of Will. Axie, we're not winning this game if I give my opponent time. The only way I win this game is if I randomly somehow mise a win before my opponent gets established. Note, I'm not attacking into a potential Snapcaster Mage there. And I don't really want to, like, attack in and then trade Reb for a Snapcaster. No, that was not a missed attack. That was an intentional don't attack. Actually, no, maybe not Grove. Maybe I want to copy Savannah. Are you saying you wouldn't play 2-mana instant speed Sinkhole? Because I'd play 2-mana instant speed Sinkhole. I can copy Plains if my opponent does go for a back to basics. I'm not dead to a back to basics. But my hand certainly sucks. Alright. You can remove my one other copy of Tireless Tracker from my deck. That's fine. Note that's poor timing for a Tireless Tracker surgical extraction. That would be something that would be much better done on my draw step, although my opponent may be just checking for information to see what I have, to see if they can tap out for a Jace or something. Interesting. Oh no, I'm gonna jam with Reb backup. And if my opponent can just, like, brainstorm Indeterminus or something like that, it's fine. That beats us. Like, we're very far behind. Surgical extraction on Misty Rainforest. You got it, pal. Now we'll attack with the Dryad Arbor and trade it for a Snapcaster. My opponent must have, like, absolutely no idea what I'm doing if they've boarded in Wear Tear. The only target is my one of Sylvan Library that I happen to play right there. Unless my opponent is in the market to go and destroy clue tokens. Alright, okay, Mox Diamond, sure. That's true. What does Snapcaster Mage do? Snapcaster just ponders? I don't know that I care about my opponent pondering. I do care about the body, though. I'm not going to let my opponent look for a swords. I am aware that I could have lethal. I could copy my Dryad Arbor. How does this read? Sorry, to finish that thought, I could copy my Dryad Arbor and then Reb destroy the Snapcaster to just have presented lethal there. No, I don't think I fetch in response if he brainstorms. Yeah, it's my general impression that a lot of the people who have WotC in front of their name are not skilled magicians, at least in Legacy. So I'm not overly surprised. This after I finish this league, I will be done. I have lunch plans. All right. So you remember when I said that people with WotC in front of their name weren't skilled magicians sometimes? My opponent just F6 through their entire turn. So that was strong. Um, so I'm going to go ahead and make this play here. Assuming that my opponent doesn't know that they need to Swords to Plowshares this absolutely immediately to play around Caracas protection. Seems like I was correct. Yep, so now we can sit here and I will slowly beat my opponent to death with Gaddock. Yeah, I've been pretty impressed by some of the card hoarders swag that we've seen recently. I really liked the dice that they auctioned off on Twitter a while back. All right, that was a shuffle with the ponder. Hmm. Hmm. Play this first to play around like a spell pierce. I mean, it's not like 100% the game is over immediately, but it does feel real good. Opponent showed us wear tear in a previous round. So I for sure want to blow this up. I'm thinking if I want to like copy it with Thespian Stage, and I don't think that I do. I wonder if this is the turn where I'm supposed to, like, bounce my own Teague in order to play a giant green sun and take over this game. I think no. So I can bounce my Teague, play land, cast Green Sun for 5, get Titania, not return a land. That doesn't seem good. I can bounce Teague, cast Green Sun for 3, bounce Teague, cast Green Sun for 1, 2, 3, plus the Green Sun cost, and then crack a clue or redeploy Teague. That seems good. A-okay with Swords to Plowshares on the Teague. That's fine. So I can get a Titania, but it doesn't really do a lot of good. So I'm going to go ahead and get a Tireless Tracker. Yeah, but Scooz is a 2/2 that can like become a 3/3. It's not super great against board. So just taking my opponent off of Hardcast Force of Will here. So now I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Get Titania, get back Wasteland. Wasteland my opponent. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. Actually, I guess I can play my land first with no penalty. in case my opponent is running some weird build that has days. This will let me have Caracas up too. Test, 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 test. Getting Knight, gaining life, buying back Punishing Fire, pointing it at Mentor is soft to literally any castable spell. So I don't know that that is correct. Ugh. I've already played a land. Guess that means I'm doing this then. Alright, yeah, so I'm just dead to this spell here. So I'll go ahead and concede. That one's kind of a frustrating loss. Alright, folks, I'll be right back in like 30 seconds. I'm going to run to the restroom. All right, I'm back. Hello, folks. My name is Phil Gallagher. I run ThrabenU University, a site dedicated to legacy death and taxes. And today we are playing with Orcish Lumberjacks, aka Applejacks, to those in the know. We're pretty much always playing legacy on this channel, and if you're liking what you're seeing here, feel free to follow. While I'm waiting for the queue match to happen here, I do want to thank my sponsors, Cardboard Live, who has that sweet extension on screen that lets me go and show off my deck list, and you can scroll over the cards to see everything there. They're currently working on a paper version of their software with image recognition, so that if you're watching a paper stream, you can scroll over a card to see a digital version of it. I'm super pumped about that. Really looking forward to seeing it in action. And I want to thank Card Hoarder for going and letting me borrow the cards I need to play sweet deck lists like this one. I've been super impressed with their services, and when I bought into Magic Online, I actually bought through them, so pretty well committed to their service. Not just because they sponsor me either. Not to be confused with Car Hoarder, the #1 source for cars. Yeah, big difference. So today's stream was brought to you by one of my subs, Safali, who donated to see this deck in action. The details for my donation queue and all my donation deck list details are under the stream if you find you're really liking this content and you want to support me. Alright, so I see that there was a comment in chat I missed while I ran to the restroom. Am I the only one that thinks Tireless Tracker is way too slow and clunky? Eternal Witness seems like a better card even. I don't know how much you've actually played with Tireless Tracker, but when that card goes unchecked, the amount of value that you generate with it is absolutely absurd. Especially in decks that can continuously make their land drops. Well, this is an awkward hand. So with a crop rotation, I have everything I need to combo off. Teague can randomly win against some decks. I have effectively 4 mana towards Titania. Would I keep this if this was a 6-card hand without Dark Depths? Yes. Is this better than my average 6-card hand? Probably not. I think I shipped this one back looking for something more functional, because 3 of these lands are slightly awkward. I think my 6 with a scry is likely better. He says as he whiffs on a green source. Alright, math time. How many green sources do I have? We'll count this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 green sources. Keep. Let's find one. That's not a green source. Uh-oh. 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 Interestingly, there was an argument for missing my land drop right there, so that if I draw a Mox Diamond, I could have green. Alright, the game is on. I really don't love playing a 3/3 knight. Is a 3/3 knight better than just an ooze here? Probably. if I play out the knight and the knight isn't answered and I draw a land, I can Titania next turn, which would be very powerful. I'd also love to save this green sun for x equals 3 or more in a matchup like this one. Yeah, the fair decks have a very... Ooh, Bob! Bob's sexy. I dig that deck. Aww. That was a force pitching a force. We'll try again next turn. Fatal push. Boo. Boo. And that triggers the revolt required to kill my knight. Snapcaster Thoughtseize taking the Titania. That's pretty gross. Alright, my window to do something with this Titania and it mattering is very small. Him to Turok. Boo! Alright, I don't really know why you would cast Ponder before him to Turoking me. Maybe they have Culligan's Command as well, and their plan is just, like, take this card from me. Because if I'm not casting this here, it just has to be something big and dumb. Alright. So this is a cool line. My opponent should not let me copy this. They should fetch so that I can't fetch away what's on top of my library. Alright, they have figured it out. I'm going to see what they left on top of my library, but I should be 100% dead if they left it there. This is a redraw. If I draw Dark Depths, can I activate stage? Yes. But does that matter? No. Jace. So I do want to tap this. And I'm not wastelanding this turn. Alright, so for basically the third round in a row, we're more or less going to sideboard the same way. So the one thing I don't like about playing this deck is that since there's so many different converted mana costs, all your cards get like shoved way over to one side. Only downside of this deck, basically. Alright, so in Tracker, Choke, Ooze, Blasts are probably fine. Night of Autumn and Needle are things that I would consider. Let's just start doing our cuts. I've tended to cut the things that are bad against counterspells as my starting point, and I probably cut Teague here. So then after that, I just have to decide if there's anything else that I want more than any of my main deck cards. So, Vayne, I think right now, a lot of the decks of the format are trying to take advantage of fair graveyard-based synergy. But Graveyard Hate itself isn't particularly good. So cards like Scavenging Ooze that are incidental Graveyard Hate while also doing other things are pretty good. Jade Hem, because of the Jace that's on board, if I just like produced a Merit Lodge, my opponent could bounce it either pre or post combat. And if I lose 2 lands and then get my Merit Lodge bounced, I just have no outs to get back into the game. So Night of Autumn is fine as something that can kill a Baleful Strix, or just like as a 4/3. My opponent could also randomly Blood Moon. We saw someone else trying to do that earlier. I don't hate having access to that. Oh, yeah, okay, I didn't see the second message. Maybe I cut a bird and throw the knight in there. Oh no, I'm supposed to cut Dragon Lord Tarka. You usually pull Dragon Lord Atarka when you pull out the natural orders. You never cut your commander. Man, awkward mana hands are awkward. This is a keep. I don't really want Punishing Fire. That can go to the bottom. Do I need 2 mana on turn 1? Not really. Although I do kind of want to be Thoughtseize. I don't super want this to get Thoughtseized, but if my opponent Thoughtseizes me, they'll take the Green Sun. So I'm just going to go land into Bird. And we'll see where this goes. I don't want to, like, YOLO and, like, Mox Diamond, throw away Thespian Stage, Green Sun for Dryad Arbor, and then have, like, infinite mana next turn. This is an awkward spot for me, because I don't really want to play this out because of K-Command, but at the same time, this bird is very likely to die sometime soonish, and if I don't put this Mox Diamond into play, then I will be off 2 colors if I don't Mox Diamond. Gosh, that's awkward. I'm going to assume that I'll draw more lands as the game goes on and that this is a fine play. I feel woefully behind. We're getting aggressive with this Pyroblast. Ha 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 ha! Ha 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 ha! Well, that feels good. Now how do I feel about playing Mox Diamond? Now that I know my opponent does not have lands, I'm much less worried about K-Command. Alright, so we're one land away from Titania. Baleful Strix is fine. We'll just give ourselves a little bit of additional green mana should we need it. Force pitching a Snapcaster, that's fine. I have no black cards in my deck. It is better to have a basic that will randomly be Wasteland or Blood Moon proof or anything of that nature. All right. Well, that was a good draw. So I don't think I have any reason to make it now. I don't really feel like my opponent has Wasteland, and this will play around Jace. I can nuke their yard at instant speed. I'm not in any hurry. If my opponent plays a Gurmag Angler, they're probably just going to die. Okay, Assassin's Trophy would be a reason to do that on my turn. Alright, so now we need to fade my opponent having Jace. Alright, so now a Snapcaster plus another Edict could do it, or Jace. Jace must have been their draw for the turn. Otherwise, like, just using that Edict to kill a Bird of Paradise seems absolutely abysmal. I think that's a very clear mistake. I think my opponent should have Snap Fate Sealed me there. I'm on 0 card. I have so many incredibly powerful haymakers. No, I'm probably just dead at this point. Like, the Tarmogoyf is a 6/7, so, like, I'm taking 8 this turn. I'll be dead to a Bolt at any point this game. So, like, my opponent probably messed up, but I couldn't capitalize on it. That was kind of a frustrating loss, but oh well. So Donatho, I am playing a deck that is referred to as Apple Jacks. It is sort of like the 4-color Loam deck that you see floating around, except it has sort of a natural order package and more of a focus on lands entering and leaving play with things like Titania. So if you take a look at the Cardboard Live extension on the left-hand side of the screen, you can scroll over and see all of the cards in the deck. This hand's pretty terrible. Man, we've been having real winners of hands today. That'll be my 3rd mana source I need. I'm going to go ahead and top that. Oh, this deck's very fun. We haven't put on a good show today. I've taken a lot of mulligans, and a lot of things haven't quite broken my way. All right, elves. So we're purely goldfishing. I can goldfish pretty quickly. So I'll discard my Bojuka Bog here. Just play a forest and pass. I guess technically I shouldn't have played out this Mox Diamond because if my opponent has Rex Sage in the hand, they could just cast Rex Sage and blow this up. Yep. Super punished. That was like literally the worst draw in the deck. Alright, so I could have played Knight this turn if I did not play out my Mox Diamond. Alright, at this point, I F6. Whatever you've got, you've got. I mean, Orem, I'm with you. We're leaving the natural orders in for Dragon Lord Atarka, that's damn sure. Yeah, you know, if we had like Mountain into Seething Song or something like that, that'd be okay. Although opponent has made a couple of elves here, so I might be in trouble. Alright, opponent didn't hit a cradle, so that's great for me. Alright. So I guess I have to cast Knight of the Reliquary. But in order to do that, I have to use the crop rotation, which I was trying to avoid doing. Alright, so in the hypothetical world where I didn't play my Mox out on turn 1, right here I could have made a Merit Lodge. But that's probably irrelevant. Like, if my opponent has a hoof in any capacity, then Merit Lodge would not have won this game. Yeah, I've got the red mana for Atarka. Just need the colorless now. Man, did my opponent really not find a natural order or a hoof or a Zenith? Wow, they didn't. All right. So, my misplay did not cost me that game. We got just goldfish faster. This is not really the sort of matchup that I'm geared to fight. I have very few cards that I'm going to sideboard in. I essentially need to race my opponent. And my racing configuration is mostly my game 1 configuration. I see you too have watched some of Julian's stream. Alright, I probably just want these 3 cards. There's a consideration that I should play Pithing Needle to shut off Wirewood Symbiote, but that doesn't contribute to the plan of get them dead as soon as I can. Alright, Bojuka Bog does nothing. That can be boarded out. Sajiri Step also probably does nothing. But there's some world where I want to keep that to get through a line of elves. If I just have like some giant knight or something that needs to get through. But maybe that's a pipe dream. It's also just another land to pitch to Mox Diamond, which is not unreasonable. I think I want to board out the Safekeeper. As far as the Goldfish goes, this contributes to me going and sacking all of my lands to make a whole bunch of elementals, but that's one of my slower ways to kill. And then I think I cut one of my other slow cards. I think it's between cut a library and cut a knight, but knight fishes up the Dark Depth stage combo. So I don't think I cut that, and I think I run this. It's also possible that I should cut a Loam. Like, Loam versus Library is probably pretty close. This hand's good. I have Loam and the ability to cast it on turn 1, plus Punishing Fire. So then my turn 2 is Punishing Fire whatever 1-mana elf they play, and play a bird. I will probably Loam. I really want to hit land drops. So if I want to play both a green spell and a red spell this turn, I 100% have to give them a life. Oh, sure. Yeah, that's an error. So I can buy back Punishing Fire, but it's a little awkward with the Pendelhaven on the table. So what can I do? 2 mana, Loam. get back Forest, play Lumberjack, and then return Punishing Fire, end of turn with Grove. That seems fine. All right. Note that we're doing this right now before they get to like draw a whole bunch off of Glimpse and draw into a Surgical. I'd be kind of annoyed if we just like die again to the Glimpse chain. After like starting on a very strong opener with Loam and Punishing Fire, removing an elf, Pendelhaven allows them to like play around it. Yeah, so Chazu, what I mean by dead is effectively dead, where my opponent just like generates enough idiots where I'm woefully behind. Like they could have just infinitely kept playing 1-mana 1/1 elves there. I don't think I want to Loam here. Alright, so I can Green Sun Fatigue this turn. That's 3 of my mana. Or, wait, can I get to Atarka? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Holy shit. Atarka is 7, right? Alright, let me recount. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Sack, 6, 7, 8. Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty good. This is Dees to Dees plus, Lewis. They think they're the Green Sun deck. Oh no. My opponent asked what was coming. I said it's a surprise. Alright, 1, 1, 1, 1. And note here that we're going to leave the Nettle Sentinel because the Nettle Sentinel can't be saved from Punishing Fire by Pendelhaven. I thought a surprise is supposed to be good. I respect my opponent. They've got strong chat game. So trying to figure out if on my turn I'm going to loam or not. I have to sacrifice a forest to Orcish Lumberjack. I think my plan is punishing fire and elf. Return punishing fire? Can I double punishing fire if I loam? So I could go loam, play forest, sack for red, red, red. Alright, loam. Then I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 mana. Yeah, I can do that twice. Yeah, Wasteland for Cradle would be pretty great. Whoa! Whoa! Didn't really expect that. I mean, like, I knew it was there. I knew that was in the deck. That just wasn't really on my radar, though. Fuck, Assassin's Trophy's good. Alright, now do I want to loam? I really want a Wasteland. But we might be past the point where mana is the limiting factor, though. And I might just need a threat. Actually, maybe Titania is the plan. Okay. So, if I cast Loam... Yeah, I think I cast Loam. Okay, no, alright. I cast Titania first. Alright, so I can make a green with this. Sacrifice a forest for red. Make an elemental. Cast life from the loam. Get back 3 lands. Play Thespian Stage. Punishing Fire. We're going to Punishing Fire the Visionary because it's annoying if my opponent gets Wirewood Symbiote. Alright, so I guess since I had 1 leftover mana there, it's possible I could have configured that in a way where I ended up with Punishing Fire left in my hand instead of in my graveyard. STRGRV, thank you very much for continuing to support my channel. Oh, pronounced Stargrove. Thank you very much. And I'm glad you're enjoying the Applejacks. Fuck! Fun's deck is too good! Look at all these sweet cards. Assassin's Trophy and Archon of Valor's Reach. What they name will be interesting, because I'll still either get to Loam or Punishing Fire. Yeah, so I really want to play with this creature in Nick Fit. It's supposed to have been in my Nick Fit deck lists a couple of different times. But it's just, it hasn't been legal on Moto until very, very recently. Alright, I could keep loaming. I don't think it's correct to. We already used the Atarka, so I guess I get Primeval Titan here. I could also get Teague, but I don't think my opponent has Natural Order or I'd just be dead. My opponent named Instinct. Alright. I want to save this for next turn. I'm going to Wasteland as my second land. Alright, so I guess I should have Orcish Lumberjack first to leave up mana to Thespian Stage this turn. So that was an error on my end. Yes, I could have done that. Doesn't look like that matters, though. Yeah, there's a delay between what you hear and what I say. So I can block 6, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 damage of this and still be very dead. Right? So I can't block this. That's 11 guaranteed, plus that coming through. Alright, if I would have made Merit Lodge, would that have mattered? So I can completely block this. Then I block this here. Take 1, take 11 in the air. Can I block all of that? Yes. Or at least enough of it. So I am just very, very dead, right? So 6, 12, 13, 14, 15 I can block. So 4, 7. Yeah, all right. I'm dead. Rough. All right. We have failed to cash this one. Now I'm going into my final round with this. So Julian, if you want to be hosted by me when I'm getting close to finishing up this round, go ahead and start up and give me the shout out. Alright, so one more time. Hello, folks. My name's Phil Gallagher. I run Thraben University. You can see me streaming Legacy on this channel every Monday and Wednesday at about 7 p.m. Eastern Time, and on Saturday mornings. Time slightly variable because it's the weekend, but those are the 3 days that I'm streaming. I do take donation deck lists, and today's donation deck list was brought to us by Safali, who wanted to see some Applejacks. And it's been a lot of fun. A lot of things haven't broken our way this league, and we haven't gotten like the engine going in a bunch of rounds. We've lost a handful of games to just sort of like clunky opening hands with bad mana. But I still really enjoy this deck. You know, certainly not tier 1 or anything, but it bullies fair decks pretty well. E.W. Landon is also in the scrub bracket. Alright, what does this hand do? Mox Diamond, discard my only land, crop rotation into Oblivion. How quickly can I make a Merit Lodge? So, turn 1, Mox Diamond, this land, play bird. Turn 2, if I draw a land, I can, like, double crop rotation, and if I draw... this is so all-in and gets destroyed by literally anything. I'm gonna mulligan this one. God, again with the mulls into Oblivion. I don't even have 3 mana for this knight currently. All right. Let the games begin. Ah, okay. Thanks, Eric. Good to know. Man, is this just gonna be like... Eric, we've had some bad mulligans today. It's been rough. Yeah, no one wins here. So, before I was surprised by Raise the Alarm, what I was about to say is, oh, is this just gonna be like a Spectral Procession, like, token shenanigan deck with, like, Lingering Souls? This is for the people right here. This round, it's for all the fans. My opponent says misclick. Makes sense. The chump seemed weird. Oh, well. Bye, Teague. Hey, Lingering Souls, I called it right. Man, that means if I make a Merit Lodge, just chump block city is fair game. It is a sweet brew, as E.W. Landon called it. Damn. Look at this value. Look at this value. I play a land and my opponent gets life. How are we supposed to win? Yeah, Dragon Lord Atarka would be pretty good. Note that I'm attacking with Fatigue here instead of leaving it back, because my opponent has Caracas, so the idea of like actually blocking the Soldier or the Soul Warden probably isn't happening. I could block and crop rotate this out, but I'm going to try to save the crop rotation for after Titania, or to immediately produce a Merit Lodge in a time where my opponent's Caracas is down. Natural order, please. Plus my Teague somehow leaving the table. Ooh, yeah, crop rotation for my own Caracas is a real line. Fuck, man, when I make these elementals, my opponent gets more life. This is hilarious. Now I think I'm going to start leaving the Teague back. My life total is more precious than theirs. I'm hoping to just overrun them at some point. But that's going to be a weird game of resource management. Okay, so now I guess I attack with the Teague and see if my opponent will trade for it. Alright. So I can crop rot for Caracas, bounce my Teague, then play Green Sun for 1, 2, 3, for X equals 3 to get a knight. Is there anything better I can do? I'm not in the situation where I can just, like, Green Sun for this. Alright, so I can probably attack with the Teague safely, though. Thank you for the bit, Sword Equip, and I'm glad you're enjoying this. This right here, it's something special. I wonder if I'm supposed to crop rotate away the Dryad Arbor. Go with no. Yes, this is indeed. It's like a unicorn fencing with a narwhal or something. Yeah, that's a good quote to add. So the command to do that is exclamation mark add quote and then what I said. And I might just die to my opponent going wide of me here and doing 2 alpha attacks in a row. So if my opponent alphas, I get to block 2 of these. Alright, my opponent does not alpha. Jeez. Alright. How do I win? I'm at 6, so I need to be able to block 5 creatures. Or deal my opponent 29. Alright, so I play Teague. This game is hilarious. So, like, I can return some lands and make some more elementals by playing Titania, but this gives me more bodies, which I think gives me a better chance of winning. Well, he's going to have something fun to watch later. That's for sure. This is probably just another turn of attack with only the spirits at this point, since it's not presenting lethal. Okay. So Merit Lodge is not good enough. I think I'm thinning and trying to draw towards a natural order. That's it. So due to that, I should just get another fetch land and thin one more card. So I definitely don't want to draw this. Well, I guess the cycle land gives me a redraw. Yeah, the cycle land gives me a redraw, and I have enough mana to do that. Oh, shoot. Yeah, I would have to bounce my own Teague in order to do this. Yeah, alright, so let's get Sheltered Grove. Grove is not good. Alright, how much... Alright, so my opponent can just, like, chump block, like, basically all of this, right? So I can attack in, my opponent can chump block all of this. I'm not anywhere close to dealing 40. Alright, we're dead. Like, I can produce a Merit Lodge, but I'll just die to Spirit Tokens. Rough. Alright, Julian, I'll probably be hosting you in something like 10 minutes. Okay, so what do I want against lifegain.deck? Probably Swords to Plowshares, Kozilek's Return, and then we might board in some more stuff depending on what we need to do to our opponent. So my opponent has Lingering Souls. I don't know if that's enough for me to actually want to keep the Bojuka Bog. I actively don't want Gaddock Teague in my deck. I don't know if my opponent has spot removal or not. I know that sounds kind of silly to say. The answer might be yes. But I've only seen a fraction of their deck. I guess Sylvan Safekeeper helps protect Merit Lodge from opposing Karakas, so I guess I want that. Maybe if these games go really long, the Tireless Trackers are good. Look, there's a lot of messages in Delver chat. You literally can't watch all of them. I can't possibly keep Delver chat unmuted on my phone. That would be absurd. Alright. Let's put Safekeeper out. Let's take Bog out. I don't know what to do against your monster, Eric. Maybe I'll trim a crop rot. Or maybe 2 crop rots. I don't know. I'll look forward to finding some of those later. All right, again with the bad mana hands. I mean, yes. So I can go Mox Diamond, discard Wasteland, play Dryad Arbor, play Bird. Actually, maybe I don't want to play Dryad Arbor. If my opponent has spot removal, I really don't want to lose out on my mana here. Ah. My opponent has made a dude. Alright. So I believe I left my Sajiri Step in the deck, right? I did. So I have protection from like a Swords to Plowshares on one of my creatures. Like so. This also actually grows the knight. I did not maximize my storm count. That is correct. That's legendary, but I guess you can play another one to just get another 1/1. Alright, so do I actually want to knight for any specific land here? I can just set up the 2-turn Merit Lodge Dark Depths kill at this time. Actually, no, I guess I can't because I don't actually have 2 forest or plains. Awkward. Super awkward. In we go. Alright, what does the backside of this do? It makes a 1/1 for 2 or 3? Yeah, so it turns into a land, and 2 and a color, 2 and a white makes it produce an idiot. This feels like raise the alarm. which is a phrase I don't think I've uttered in Legacy before. Hell? Oh man. So my opponent makes some birds and immediately flashbacks it to make more birds. What have you done, Eric? What have you done? Alright, now I set up the 2-turn Dark Depths Merit Lodge shenanigans. Because this can create a chump blocker for Night forever, and then I'll just get clocked in the air. Soul Warden Legion landing combo. Actually, let's do this way. Marginally thin my deck a bit more. Get rid of this forest that I'm never going to want to draw. Ha! 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 I have one too. Oh man. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Sacrifice Knight. 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, I have 8 mana. Get there! One, 2, 3, 4. Where did that other bird go? 5. Morning, Arkin. Look at this nice game of Legacy that you've walked into. Isn't it grand? Oh, jeez. Sorry, excuse me, chat. Another battle screech, so my opponent can make a whole bunch more birds. I just got rid of most of those birds, and now they're back. At least Dragon Lord Atarka tramples. Fuck! Another normal day in Legacy here, folks. Nothing to see. Move along. So my opponent has 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. My opponent is potentially threatening lethal on the backswing. Did I board in Knight of Autumn? Did not board in Knight of Autumn. Alright, so I think I just like sending both of these creatures in, and then I can Green Sun for Primeval Titan. Wait, is Titania just better? I can just Green Sun for 5, get a Titania, get a Wasteland this stupid thing. That's probably just better. That leaves a bird up as a blocker, too, if I get in a pinch. Then my knight becomes a real threat. Instead of something that can just be chump blocked forever by board. Yeah, Green Sun's great. You get to shuffle twice. I think I'm going to take my two life points here. And these are even vigilant. Holy shit. Are we going to lose after Dragon Lord Atarka-ing and getting a 5-for-1? Very possibly. My Sajiri step is already in play. Can I get it back in play? I can knight to get a wasteland it, put it in the graveyard. Then I can't, like, bounce my Titania to get it back and force lethal damage through. Ah! Okay, what if I hold back? If I hold back, I can block 2 of these, and then... Alright, so I can block 2, punishing fire 1, take 8, still die. Okay, wait. If my opponent doesn't block Dragon Lord Atarka, I can just punishing fire them and kill them. Alright. Let's see if my opponent dies. Arkin, let's not talk about the score. Let's talk about the fun we're having and the friends we made the whole time. Shit. The lifelink. This is gonna get weird. Maybe I should have just attacked with Dragon Lord Atarka. Why do I have to do so much combat math? Okay, so my opponent's gaining 4 right now. They're effectively at 14, and they're taking 8. I can punishing fire away an idiot. Alright, so I can punishing fire twice. I can punishing fire both lifelinkers. My opponent takes 8. Or I can punishing fire... Oh, no. Okay, I think I got this. I fire 2 of these spirit tokens on their turn and block 1. I take 6. So I just let this happen. If my opponent plays another Anthem, though, that's the end. I guess I should block now. I guess technically I should have just like blocked initially to prevent like a removal spell from blowing me out. Okay, so if I swing in with everything right now, there's just chumps all around. I guess I just whittle down the board. So I can go return, punishing fire one of these. Ugh, too much math, not enough time. Okay. So if I attack in with everything right now, I lose the opportunity to just, like, invalidate some blocks. So I guess I guarantee myself the greatest number of points of damage in the air. Or can I just wait this out and win? Just by punishing fire one of these. Swords to Plowshare's another one. There's 4 in the air coming in. No, I still die to that. Or I can get a second Grove off Knight. Alright. So what I'm going to do is attack in with everything. And see if I get there. If the answer is I don't get there this turn, I'll Swords to Plowshares my own Knight to gain 9, and then probably get there on the following turn. So I can just let all this trample damage go through, and then... it's about the same. Oh god, there's another match of this left? Alright. Alright, chat, I'm basically going to have no interaction this game. With the chat. And that loam from that graveyard is going to make me do more clicks than I would like this game. Yeah. The plan is make a big boy. Oh, that's almost good. Shit, it doesn't matter. Alright, we're losing by timeout. I accept. When you're playing against like decks like Delver, you do need some additional threats. Alright, so we probably would have won that one in another turn or so. But we timed out, just kind of like not knowing what our opponent was doing. And that's fine. Alright, I'm not going to do a debrief on this deck. Essentially what I'm going to say is I think some of the non-2 or 3 color lands from the deck need to be cut to increase the power of some of the opening hands. Like, I want to cut the Bojuka Bog from the deck for just another 2 or 3 color land. There were way too many times where I had to ship opening hands that were just, like, missing green. And I don't think that's super acceptable. Otherwise, this deck is a lot of fun. I have some more thoughts that the next time I play this deck, I will articulate more clearly. There are a couple of changes I want to make after seeing today. But I've got lunch at noon with a friend, so I'm going to go ahead and get going to that. My name was Phil Gallagher, and I run Thraben University. If you enjoyed my content today, please follow, and if you really want to do something to support me, consider, donating, subbing, and making me play some sweet decks. All right, I'll catch you later, and I'm going to throw you over to Julian, who will also be playing some Legacy.